the nightclub. Ooh, the women be ratchet and ready and pretty to the nightclub. We go bump city. Sitting by the dance floor, checking it out. Watching the man with the fast feet. He got the hippest threads in the bad boogaloo. A big old bag of tricks. Down to the nightclub. You can get what you want if you know how to find it to the nightclub. Ooh, we be slick. And ooh, the people be bumping. At Bump City. The joint be jumping. At Bump City. The mamas be humping. At Bump City. Hey, while the band be pumping. Shut the band be pumping. The beat be something. Wow, what time, y'all? The night's almost gone and we're still going strong. The party's been so hearty. I hope it doesn't show while I'm driving down the road that I had too much to drink. Down to the nightclub. Well, if you got the dough, the liquor will flow to the nightclub. Tied on a drum. Down to the nightclub. We go bump. Down to the nightclub. We slick. Down to the nightclub. We go bump. Down to the nightclub. Tied on a drum. Down to the nightclub. Well, if you got the dough, the liquor will flow to the nightclub. Yeah. Oh yeah. To the nightclub. Look at me. You can get what you want if you know how to find it. To the nightclub. Come on. To the nightclub. Yeah. Love it, yeah. To the nightclub. Look at y'all. The women be righteously ready and pretty. To the nightclub. Oh, right now. To the nightclub. Down to the nightclub. Bump.
And that is Tower of Power with Down to the Nightclub, the traditional lead-in song to every show here at Mason City Limits Comedy Club. And this is another edition of WTF at MCL. Chris is here.
We've been gone for a while.
We have. This is sort of a holiday edition. We're coming back, and we've got a special guest, really cool dude who's going to be performing at Mason City Limits this weekend. One show each night, Friday, Saturday.
Ryan Singer.
Ryan Singer's going to be here. You got show times on those?
Not yet. We haven't thought that all the way through yet. We've settled on 8:30 on Friday and 8 p.m. on Saturday.
Awesome.
And we'll start sitting about 45 minutes before the show time. So
You going to do a special dinner deal?
Yeah, I thought we had something going with Darren, but I maybe not this weekend. I know we have his fan club's going to be out here on Friday.
So it's going to be packed at Mason City Limits this weekend with Ryan Singer. Feature is Shane Eugene.
Yeah, it's not Shane anymore.
Eugene
Shane Torres, because there was another Shane Torres. He's gone to Eugene Torres.
And
I think he is the only Eugene Torres ever. Those two names have never been put next to each other. So that's really. And then we'll have some guest spots. Our friend Buddha's going to do a guest spot. Dave Yates will do a guest spot.
Oh, very funny
You
guy.
know Dave Yates?
From the Bloomington area.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
funny.
And Dave Yates is dating a girl. She's a singer and a guitar player and a songwriter. And boy, the last couple times, he did two shows a couple of weeks ago, and she just stuck around and played for everybody. And
Killed it,
really,
huh?
really, really good.
Nice. What do you?
I don't know what's going on here.
Are we segueing into weird news?
No, here's what happens. I fucking let me turn the fucking volume down. I'm sorry about this. This is usually a lot more professional.
Yeah.
So stop it.
Should we add the disclaimer since Ryan's a friend of Marc Maron and he might actually?
Oh yeah, exactly. We explained this to
He's going to tell on us.
because
WTF at MCL is
100% Marc Maron free because
Wow.
Marc Maron has a. God damn it!
on cue. Marc Maron.
God damn it!
Yes, sorry. There we go. Okay.
We don't have a sound engineer.
Because Marc
here.
Maron's got a podcast called WTF, and I didn't think about that when I was like, oh yeah, WTF at MCL has a lot of letters put together. That'd be pretty funny. And then at some point pointed out, well, yeah, Marc Maron has a podcast called WTF. Yeah, and I go, yeah, but we're 100% Marc Maron free. And so that's how we justified it. But then we thought, well, our 100th episode, we might get Marc Maron on the show, and then we had to be 99% Marc Maron.
That would be awesome. Do you know how awesome that would be?
That would be a kind of a big moment. And then, of course, then 200, and we'd have to keep the ratio going, probably.
People might listen to that show.
Every 100th episode.
Yeah, exactly. So this weekend we got Ryan Singer.
And then the 26th is a showcase night, the Best of the Midwest Comedy Showcase. This show routinely features the best up-and-coming comedians from like Central Illinois, Chicago, St. Louis, just $5. What are you doing the day after Christmas? You're sick of your family.
The day after
I won't be here. Jeff Kovednik will be hosting. So,
and Jeff is worth $5 in and of himself, to experience.
And then Dr. Gunzo, who should be joining us shortly, is here New Year's Eve and the 2nd of January. And then we got Tim Slagle coming the first week, Uncle Larry Reeb, Steve Ayatt, Kid Dave Miller. There's a guy from the past.
Slagle's one of my
Carmen Morales will be here, and Bob J. and Mike Armstrong, and we just booked Kevin Meaney back in March.
Slagle's one of my favorite Facebook posters of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Prolific troll, just horrible troll. Do you know Slagle? He's
Well,
like that.
I don't think he trolls people as much as he puts his own threads out there, and then people comment on his threads.
And then he
I don't see him snarking around other people's stuff too often.
Well, actually, he engaged me in debate the other day just on the Pete Rose issue.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that because Ryan's a big baseball fan too, a big Reds fan, and we just saw that Brandon Phillips just got traded.
And Slagle's position is that there are some sins in baseball that are unforgivable. And, I pointed out that while I was not arguing from a position of this is what it says in the rule book, I'm not. I'm arguing from the position of an emotional person who who was a fan of the Big Red Machine for those great teams for so many years.
That's when I grew up, man.
And I was a fan of the Phillies when Rose.
Yeah, when Rose was there, he won a World Series there. He won 2, did he?
And so I'm that guy.
The guy won where he went, but he's his own worst enemy.
And that was the point I made with Slagle.
He again, if he'd have just came out and said, "Yeah, I did it," he'd be in the Hall of Fame probably now. Although I don't know about this. I mean, they could have reinstated him, but the people who are voting are not going to vote him in.
Even now,
they're not going to vote him in. Even if he was reinstated, they wouldn't.
I think baseball's been trying to show Pete Rose the way back. I think they've been trying to show him the path for quite a while. They gave him the all-century team. They let him on the field. They were tolerant of the Fox analyst position. But at the same time,
Jim Gray was right. Remember, everyone was pissed at Jim Gray for giving them those questions.
Is this one on?
Yeah, it's catching everybody. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, you're good.
First of all, when it comes to the some sins are unforgivable in baseball. By the way, that no betting on baseball law or rule was instituted after the Chicago Black Sox scandal. Right. And Shoeless Joe Johnson, who is the reason the rule exists, is in the Hall of Fame. So, that argument doesn't hold. I'm very emotionally invested in this.
Yes.
That argument holds no water.
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
What did I call him, Johnson?
Yeah. Was there 2 shoeless guys?
If you look at that team,
It's a tough time.
Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who was the commissioner at the time, banned several guys that there was no evidence that they participated in the scam. They knew nothing about it, but they got banned along with everybody else. They were gone. And for that period of time, that commissioner, he rejected every application for a black player that came before him during his time as commissioner. This is a guy that seemed like he did a lot of things to clean up the game, but he was sort of vindictive about it, and he certainly didn't do anything to promote race integration in baseball. He held the party line along with the owners at the time.
Well, that's probably why he was hired, though. He was probably hired,
Yeah, and like I said, he was ruthless with the Chicago Black Sox team. There were guys who got banned for life who didn't do a fucking thing. They didn't know anything about what was going on. They were just as shocked as anybody else, and now they're out of the game forever.
And the reinstatement and Hall of Fame thing are separate issues.
Right, and the Hall of Fame is not really associated with Major League Baseball as a sense. It's a completely different entity. So Rose being on the ballot for the Hall of Fame should be a different discussion. But the thing about Rose is not apologetic, and he's not humble at all. He continues to do this big signing on Hall of Fame weekend in Cooperstown, right around the corner.
He's got to make his money. I'm not mad at him.
But, I mean, this is one of the things that pisses off Major League Baseball. If you know that,
He's not breaking the rules, though.
right? But if you know that and you want to come back and you're in Pete's position, don't you say,
Maybe the
let's
unwritten
move this
rules,
a
I don't
mile
know.
down the road, or do something to kiss their ass a little bit so you get back in the fucking game.
You don't become the all-time hit king by being someone who just eats humble pie.
Right,
I
that's
agree.
totally right. His arrogance made him a great ball player,
But it's not doing him
it's
a
not
service
doing
now.
him much right now.
If he got on the ballot right now, he wouldn't get voted in, but the second time he was on the ballot, he would be elected to the Hall of Fame. And Bob, because people would be like, well, I'm not going to vote him in on the first ballot. He's not going to get the first ballot thing. And then he'll get in. Bob Costas said it best. They're separate issues. The Hall of Fame is not, like you said, it's not related to baseball in that way, to where it's a historic monument to the game. Therefore, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And then at the bottom of his plaque, you can put "banned from baseball for life,"
Whatever.
and it'll be a lesson to people. But yeah, I don't think he's going. I think he'll get in after he's dead.
I don't think he should be banned. I don't think he should be banned now. I think we're putting way too much emotional investment in a rule about gambling that doesn't mean shit. I mean, really, how did Pete Rose, even Pete Rose's sins, did
Compared to Ty
impact
Cobb, who
baseball?
might have lynched somebody, yeah.
Did Rose do anything really that hurt the integrity of the game other than contravene this rule? Because did he bet on Cincinnati? From what I understand,
Yeah,
he
but I would
did.
say, somebody brought this up,
But he
if
better
you're
win.
betting on a team, you're not going to be invested in the long haul.
I heard that argument the other day.
You
and
might
I
stick with
believed
your
it.
starting pitcher to 130 pitches instead of 110
Right.
pitches.
You're not thinking season. You're thinking
Right, you're
tonight.
thinking of, hey man, I got $700 in this game.
But Rose was betting Cincinnati to win.
Oh, sure he was.
So he
But still.
had
But I
money.
mean, you might throw your closer for 3 innings that game because, and I mean,
Yeah, he wasn't thinking
I
about
mean,
the season.
He wasn't thinking about the season. He was thinking about that night.
But
But that's a fair argument.
I would say that Rose was managing the way he played. He was managing to win every fucking ball game every single time he went out there in a uniform.
Sure.
And he also happened to have money on the game with a loan shark. I mean,
Put your money where your mouth is. Pete Rose was
And
like,
Dr.
pretty
Donzo is
good.
joining us now. He might have an opinion on the Pete Rose saga.
He shouldn't be in. He's got the records. There's enough of that, but he should not be in because you got to have some kind of standards. I mean, Shoeless Joe Jackson.
here's the
should be
Tim
in the Hall of
Slagle
Fame.
argument.
See, Ryan said he is in the Hall of Fame.
Shoeless Joe Jackson is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think he was still.
Yeah, because I saw the sign that said "No shirt, no shoes, no service."
You brought that up for that.
The Hall of Fame is different than being reinstated to the game, to be able to participate in the game in any way. The Hall of Fame is a historical monument to the game of baseball, separate from the game itself.
But he's not selected into the Hall
All
of Fame.
that
because
means
of
is
his
Shoeless Joe Jackson is forever banned from
Yeah,
Circle K's.
because the commissioner even said these are separate issues. I'm not ruling on him being eligible for the Hall of Fame. I'm ruling on his reinstatement into baseball.
Oh, that's what
the
he
Hall of
said.
Fame is a separate issue.
Okay, I didn't.
But no, when he came out and said that he's still betting, like currently today, like that's when I was like, okay, you probably don't want him in the dugout.
No.
Still today, like I understand the not reinstating him into the game, but he's 74 years old. What's he going to do anyway?
Right.
Well, he hasn't changed at all. I mean, and then he lied forever and ever when he should have just come clean at the beginning, and that's a big part of it. But I mean, yeah, he's got his stats will stand. I mean, I'm sorry,
That's a record that will never be broken. Do the math on that. I mean,
Well, I know,
42,
you
56 is the number of hits he got. I mean, you have a 200-hit season. That's a great season.
Well, if Ichiro would have been here sooner, he would have
Yeah.
had the record. But
There you
outside
go.
of a once-in-a-lifetime type of player,
You never know. Ichiro might have met some money grubbing whore or something and fucking ruined his life. You don't know. You don't know.
Could have met a no-no. My question is, what would it hurt, Gonzo? I mean, if they say, we've looked at Pete Rose and we've decided to reinstate
It's just
him.
about morals. It's probably.
Yeah, but what happens the day after they reinstate Pete Rose? I mean, what changes?
Why is
You
Barry
talk about
Bonds on the
morals, and
ballot?
we've got Barry Bonds, who's never been dealt with.
But
that
he's not in
issue
the Hall
has
of Fame.
never been put to rest.
but he's on the
He
ballot.
went through
He's
the
on the-
court
he's-
thing
he's
and
eligible.
they never found him guilty, period. That's the whole thing. Unless they fucking take him back to court, and I don't think they can with Barry Bonds.
McGuire's on the ballot.
McGuire's, if you're on the ballot, and you got to look at,
But those
What about
guys,
Willie Mays? What about Mickey Mantle? Should those guys have come back?
Well, those guys, they
were welcome back.
They took greenies and everything else, though. I mean, those guys everybody took drugs.
But they were banned from baseball because of their association with casinos, and then they were welcomed back ultimately to the game.
They all made the Hall of
and
Fame,
it didn't stop the world from turning.
Yeah, as far as reinstated, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would be a big deal if Pete Rose was reinstated to baseball. I've got no problem with that.
but they're not going to vote him in. At least he said maybe the second time. I don't think even the second time.
Well, I mean, maybe they'll do like they do with Ron Santo, and just say wait till he dies.
Wait till he dies, because we don't want to give him any joy.
Yeah.
The guy's got diabetes and lost a fucking
Yeah,
leg.
lost
Let's not
both
give him any
legs,
joy.
lost both legs.
Let's not give him any
Both
joy.
his parents were killed in a horrible car accident,
Yeah, let's make sure we wait till this guy dies before we let him in. That's sound logic.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, the idea that the Hall of Fame is something that we made up. Okay.
well, it's also,
And
but it's also the people that are in the Hall
there's
of
all
Fame.
kinds of cheats in there
But there are.
and scumbags.
There's cheats in the Hall of Fame.
There's cheats and scumbags and racists in there. And Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame, but should not. But Bob Costas said it best, and you just put something at the bottom of his plaque: was banned for life from baseball for gambling on the game.
Is Charles Comiskey in the Hall of Fame?
Make it a learning
That
tool.
motherfucker was a bandit.
For people.
And is
I don't know.
that what Costas said? Make it a learning tool? Or
Yeah, a lot of people are saying. And also, there's so many new
You have to have
voters.
examples. You have to say, look, if you do this, you can't do this. And as far as gambling on sports, yeah, you had a point. Pete Rose wanted to win every fucking game all the fucking time. But he's still going to take the over and under. And I mean, you got to still look at the whole, he was a baseball guy. He's going to go out there and go, this is going to be a 3-2 game today. It's going to be a 1-run game today. He'll take a bet like that. Now, he might win, but he's still betting on the game. And every fucking dugout, every locker room says no betting or no gambling on baseball. I mean,
You've actually been in these places.
I have been in them, and they say no gambling. I mean, just you don't bet on baseball. It's kind of.
So it's a bigger sin than steroid use. It's a bigger sin than
No,
domestic violence.
here's the problem with steroid use.
There was no rule against it.
There was no rule against it.
There was no rule against
And
it.
if I'm not mistaken, there was no rules against gambling either
And you know
until
what?
the Black Sox scandal.
Right, but then there was a rule.
And then it became the holy, like the golden rule of
That's
baseball.
why now steroid use is being punished.
And I would
because-
argue that it's an irrelevant holy grail. I think gambling in baseball is a dead issue. Long ago.
Yeah, but if you allowed gambling in baseball, guys are going to go out. They'll throw a game. Fucking.
Well, no, you definitely cannot allow gambling in baseball. That's a sensible rule.
Going to miss a ball.
I think anybody who would argue against that rule
Who would know
isn't.
the difference?
And who would know the difference? Exactly, that's the point I was getting at. I mean, you got some players out there that have known, people boot a ball every once in a while. And if it's like, okay, I got money on this, I got $10,000 on this game with the bookie because I owe somebody money for something. Yeah, I could go over and go, oh, it went right under my glove or something like that.
And you think
Or I missed the cutoff guy.
I missed the cutoff guy. Oh, fuck, who hits the cutoff man anymore? Whoever hits the fucking
it's
cutoff.
less likely for somebody to take money to boot a ball with a rule against gambling in baseball. I would say that it's just as likely depending on who's placing the bet. Whether it's the person
And how
that-
desperate those people are.
Yeah.
You lose a couple skins to Mickelson on an off day.
Yeah.
On a golf course, you owe him $60,000 real quick.
I don't think this rule impacts betting on baseball in any way, shape, or form, except the death penalty that goes along with it. I don't think there's really any social deterrent to keep somebody from doing something improper.
Well, I know the marijuana laws. Oh, you bet that
Although I don't know if I would be nearly as emotionally invested if I didn't grow up in Dayton, Ohio, a lifelong fan of Cincinnati Reds.
You know what? And I love Pete Rose. I love watching him play. I mean, that's the way we were taught to play when we were kids. Go full bore, get out there and win.
Yep.
And it was a sad day when that happened. But and he was part of some games that I was at that were monumental games. Dave Gervecki had that shoulder surgery, came back through a great game against the Reds, won 4-2. He was player manager at the time for the Reds, and I remember him going out to the mound, and it was, to change his pitcher because, he was trying to keep it a close game. But Dravecky won the game. That was his last game he pitched. Complete game. He went to Montreal in a couple innings.
I remember his arm
snap.
snap.
And Will Clark said that was the weirdest, grossest sound he'd ever heard in his life, and he lost his arm.
Yeah.
And we were at that game, and the guy came back, and it was a tearjerker game, and Pete knew how to play the game. You know, I mean, he played into the crowd because we're in San Francisco, and he was out there trying to win this game, and it was 4-2 when they took out Dravecky, and then they got 4-3, and he could have made a change maybe he could have probably figured out a way to win that
You know,
game.
it reminds me, I used to do a bit about Dave
And maybe
Dravecky.
bet on
And
that too.
the one-arm guy.
Dravecky comes back and wins that. You know, I could have.
I used to do a bit about this guy.
Okay.
Because he appeared on this billboard, because he had one arm, right?
Yeah.
And it said, real men don't use porn. I'm like, well, of course,
Well.
Dave Dravecky doesn't use porn. How would you turn the page? I mean, one hand is on the remote control and one hand is not, right? I mean,
It's a 50-50 shot.
saying,
Dravecky, you
of
know.
course you don't. Yeah, sure.
Didn't he end up drumming for Def Leppard?
Yeah, that was the guy. But I don't know, and I'm not going to sit here and argue the Barry Bonds thing. If he doesn't get in, then that's their deal. But
I think Barry Bonds should be in, by the way.
well, first of all, to watch him when you watched him play,
Just on hat size alone, I think.
his swing was the shortest swing, the most compact swing, and choked up on the bat. It was just a matter of getting the sweet part of the bat on the sweet part of the ball. And no matter if you're doing fucking, I would think speed would make your eye-hand coordination a little bit better than steroids so much. Steroids give you the power. But he had power.
He was
But he had,
Or probably healing from an injury, I would think would help you.
He came up with the Pirates, and he was a fast guy. He could maybe hit a few home runs.
he was a five-tool player.
he was a power hitter.
He really was. He
was a five-tool guy.
He was a five-tool guy, but he got more heavy on the power later. He still played pretty good at outfield, man.
Do you know the legendary story about him having dinner at Ken Griffey Jr.'s house?
No, didn't
When Sosa and McGuire are making the run?
well, I'd heard that.
Because they're the two best players in baseball.
Yeah.
And they were friends, and Bonds was over at Griffey's house. Allegedly, this dinner took place, and he said, "Doesn't this piss you off? We're the best players in baseball, and these guys are cheating
Getting all that.
and getting all the attention,
Yeah.
and we're better than they are.
Yeah.
Griffith's
If we cheated,
No, Bonds-
we would be just as much better as we were when everything was a level playing field." And Griffey's like, "No, man, you're talking crazy. Don't worry about it. Who cares? It'll
Yeah.
come back and bite him in the ass later." And Bonds apparently couldn't handle it, and
Well,
then boom,
he
starts
couldn't handle
juicing.
McGuire being the home run. Right?
Yeah,
Because he did
and then
more home runs.
he smashed it. I mean, to
and
think back that he hit
smashed it.
76 home runs, like I just saw that number again the other day, and I was
walked
like,
him like every other
and I
time?
forgot.
You know how many pitches he got to
Holy-
swing at that year?
Probably like
They walked him
84.
200 times that year. Walking 200 fucking times that year.
Unbelievable.
Still hit that many pitches. And it's amazing. You go, if he gets 2 pitches today, he's going to hit 1 home run.
Yeah, it was
That was what it was
incredible.
Down to that. And that's
You know what? Baseball loved it. And now for baseball to sit back and be like, although it's the baseball writers, it's not even baseball, which has always been weird to me that the
there was
baseball
talk
writers are
during
like the
that
Hall of Fame.
season that, his head's awful big. And,
Oh, yeah,
they started
we-
putting some of that stuff on, and then that's about the time when what's his name, Canseco started saying, well,
Oh, he came out with the book, Juice,
Here's the
whatever,
other
yeah.
thing. Here's the other thing. They're proving now that Canseco was pretty right.
Oh, about everything. Yeah, right.
So when you think about it,
Yeah, but he also did weird shit. Like he approached, who was the pitcher, the Hernandez, the O name,
Orlando?
New York Yankee.
Orlando El Duque?
He went to this guy before he comes out with his second book and says, "You know what? I need some investors in this project that I'm doing, and if you want to keep your name out of this book, you should probably throw in some cash." And he calls the Yankees management and says, "Jose Canseco's trying to strong arm me."
yeah.
So he's done some really fucking
Douchey
Well,
thing.
yeah, and that's not that wasn't my point.
We're not arguing that Jose Canseco's not a douche.
Oh, he's a douche, I know that.
But that first book was
And I saw him.
was an expose.
I go, but what I'm saying is
that was
there
accurate.
were pitchers on steroids at the same time. Bonds
There was more
fucking
pitchers on
home runs.
Yeah, for
steroids.
recovery time, they said.
Sure. Yeah.
So are you telling me that steroids makes you a better hitter, or steroids?
Makes you a better athlete.
All you have to do is watch Roger Clemens throw the broken piece of bat during the World Series at Mike Piazza when the bat broke, and throw it at him as he's running to first base to realize, oh, that's like who like he couldn't control himself at all. And Andy Pettitte even said he did it. But Andy Pettitte to me was a guy who, and Mark McGuire is the same way. You come out and admit it, Guess who wants to welcome you back?
And both those guys were injured, and they're coming back from injuries. McGuire especially, but Pettit too. Pettit was coming back.
So I guess the lesson here is Pete Rose should have done that 20 years ago, and he'd be in the Hall of Fame already.
No.
Well,
If he would just immediately admitted it.
Can you imagine fucking Rose on steroids?
Oh my God.
You know how many people would have been...
Ray Fosse would have been fucked
I don't
up.
think it would have helped
Ray
his game.
Fosse would have been a dancer. Oh, that Fosse, wrong. But
You're thinking of Bob.
yeah, and I'm thinking that, you know, again, you can say, okay, this was the steroid period. You can put it in perspective like that. 10, 20 years from now, you're going to look back and go, okay, in that period of time, the union protected the players, and they couldn't drug test them on this and that, while all the other teams were starting to do it, you know, in the different leagues. And when baseball finally came around to it, the ones that got popped, and the ones that didn't get popped, what can you say?
I don't give a shit about steroids, but the drug use in the game really, during the 80s, I grew up on the Mets, where, you know, and I remember all that coke use.
Oh, yeah.
For
Keith
me,
Hernandez,
that kind of
Dale
tainted
Berra.
that was- well,
Are we on the radio? Are we live?
Dwight Gooden, Darryl Strawberry.
I've gotten really high with a lot of ball players over the years.
All right.
Stone,
Let's hear it.
Coke, all this stuff, you know. I'm not going to name names on that, but they did. They partied. You know, nobody was testing them. It wasn't like my friend that worked at the state, you know, that had to pee in the cup. These guys didn't have to do any of that shit.
People forget that's the road. They're like baseball players are on the road. I mean, they're doing the road hard.
And they're making
6 months straight.
And they're making big time money, and even their per diem is probably more money than a average feature act, right?
But for me, I was a 15-year-old kid who was a baseball player and a fan, and then I find out that one of the guys that I think is really cool, Darryl Strawberry, getting all these home runs, I'm kind of emulating this guy. All of a sudden, he's on coke, and he's having problems as a result of the coke. And for me as a kid, that made an impact. You know, for me, that's a bigger deal than anything Pete Rose ever did.
Yeah. But I'm still saying that go back to Mays and McCovey and those guys and everybody who took greenies and there were always things. You know, when I was hanging out with my buddies at the Phillies, I was watching the pitcher drop a whole bunch of like White Cross. You know, go out there, all right, I'm ready to pitch. You know, he's fucking wound and he's locked in. I'm going, well, this isn't fair, because I was a Giants fan. You know, I'm sitting there watching this game going, well, I just saw that son of a bitch. And I'm not going to go, hey, I'm going to call somebody up, because my friends are ball players, and they allowed me to go in the dressing room. I'm going to keep my, you know, what stays in Vegas stays in Vegas. You know, but it was happening all the time. And there were guys that I could name that you just blow your mind. You're going, no, it wouldn't blow your mind. It was during the 80s. It was during the 80s, and everybody was fucked up. But it just kind of, it's entertainment to me, baseball. You can look at stats and all the stuff you want to, but I would love to see everybody roided out of their fucking minds to watch guys climbing a wall to catch a ball. And the guy
Salim has a bit about that.
Who's that?
Salim has a bit about that.
But I like that. I got no problem with that. It's entertainment.
That's exactly what he said.
I want to see it in the NBA. I want to see it in hockey.
We should have two leagues, one where they test and one where they don't test, and see where the ratings get higher.
I'm going to watch the guys leaping off the freaking top of the building to make the catch and hitting the
I think we should allow steroid use, but only in one sport, women's basketball. I think that would be fascinating.
Synchronized swimming.
Roided up women basketball players.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And most baseball fans don't care. I think the records are probably the thing, but I mean, it'd be like watching porn and going, oh, they're using Viagra in this thing, you know. Yeah. It's like, you know, I don't really care. I'm looking for the...
I'm going to be jerking off anyways.
Right. I'm just saying,
We're talking about baseball still,
right?
right?
Exactly.
We're still talking about baseball.
Sports scores at the bottom of the porn and everything.
When people bitch about what's wrong in baseball, the first thing out of their mouth is usually steroid use, and I never hear anybody say, you know what's wrong with fucking baseball? It's this gambling rule. I never heard that, and I'm 45
But
years
you know
old.
why?
Never.
Because the rule's been so violently enforced that people toe the fucking line, except for one individual.
Yeah.
You think that's it?
I
You
think
really
so, yeah.
think
Fuck
it's
it.
just Pete.
I think it's just Pete. I mean, when you look back on it, I mean, Yeah, there's guys that probably go to the golf course and gamble. I know a lot of ball players that are golfers.
Yeah.
They love to golf, and you know what? They got
They'll
money.
gamble
They're gonna
on the
gamble.
fucking basketball tournament, but they won't gamble on fucking baseball.
Yeah, but you don't gamble on the game you're
It'd even be one thing, too, if he didn't bet on his own team, he was betting on other games, but you still have inside information. But betting on your team when you are the player manager, that's
kind of...
and if he would have just admitted it immediately,
Yeah.
I'm saying, I think he'd be in the Hall of Fame right now.
you're right.
He admitted
It would have happened
state-
10 years ago.
He first admitted that he bet on baseball, but it was in 87 and 88 when he was just
fact-
the manager and not the player. And then he came back and said later, oh, well, except for 85 and 86, where I placed a few bets. So he's done all this shit in gradual releases over the years. And it's like, Pete, shut the fuck up, tell everybody the truth, and maybe this thing goes away before you die.
Yeah.
But he
had
won't do that.
Bad parenting. He would have bad parents because they would have told him, "He'd come clean, buddy."
Boy, I don't know. I think he might punch you in the nose because
but
his dad was a big influence in his life.
well, I'm sure he was. But you know what? You still, if your parents brought you up right, you'd have gone to church.
Come
you
on.
would've
Yeah,
gambled,
there's plenty of good parents with bad kids.
I'd like to talk to Pete someday in a setting that wasn't, just comfortable and say, was it worth it? Was it worth it to stick to your guns and be sort of Pete Rose this entire time and not be in the game? Was it worth it?
No.
And Pete Rose has broken my heart on multiple occasions. Years ago, 10 years ago, maybe it was before he admitted betting on baseball as the player, or as the coach, or manager, whatever. And my dad was friends with his gambling advisor, the guy he used in his hearing with, what was it, Giamatti or whoever it was, and this guy named Dana. And he was a gambler, just a lifer, right? And so my dad's like, oh, I'm buddies with him. Dana wants to write this book about Pete, proving his innocence. And so I told him, I was like, my son's graduated with a writing degree, so I'm telling him about you, and you can help him write this book. And I'm like, oh, I already got the name. It's called Charlie Hustler, right? So I got this book. I'm going to get interviews with Pete Rose. I'm going to prove Pete Rose is innocent on betting on the Reds, right? And then, so I get all fired up. I start doing all this research, and then my dad's like, oh, I talked to Dana, and he was really excited at first, but he said he's already got the first chapter written and probably just wants to do it by himself. He had the first chapter written for 5 years. And then 6 months later it comes out where it's you
Should have read that book a lot sooner, dude.
Should have got that.
and I was so pissed off. Because I believed for years, and I defended. I was like, he didn't bet,
Sure.
on the Reds, but I got over it. And there should definitely be in the Hall of Fame the plaque with the hits and all the most wins ever and all this other kind of stuff, but also a big section on.
They're there.
There should be Pete Rose section on make an example out of him, and this is why
Just tell us.
Yeah. This is why he's in the
he was banned from baseball.
This is why he's clapped in the lobby instead of in the hall.
Yeah.
He's close to
by
the
the
hall.
women's room.
Yeah, exactly. He's
Because it's all just kind of
lottery tickets.
because the world doesn't change at all,
You're right.
0% if he gets in or if he stays out. I'll die, but I guarantee the thing I'm not thinking about on my deathbed is they never let Pete in the Hall of Fame. Because my friend had this great T-shirt and he made it, and I used to wear it to Red Games. It said, "There's no Hall of Fame without the sweet smell of the rose." I wore that shirt. Every time I wore that shirt, 20 people would come up to me and be like, "Oh my God, I love that shirt. Where do I get this shirt?" And but that's in Cincinnati, in Dayton.
And you're gonna get. And it's the same. In the Bay Area, the Giants fans are going crazy because Bonds was hitting all these home runs, but the rest of the world was like, he was an asshole when he was with Pittsburgh. Leland
He was
smacked
an
him around. Well, yeah, he was just he got thrown in a limelight, and he was not trained on it. And his dad was kind of an asshole too.
Can you imagine Roberto Clemente being your godfather?
Barry Bonds
Wasn't
was weird.
Clemente?
Willie Mays.
Oh, Willie Mays.
Willie Mays,
Yeah, not Clemente.
Did you ever hear the Gary Sheffield story with Bonds? How Sheffield had called Bonds and talked to him about working on his swing, and Bonds said, "That's cool. What you do is you come out here to my house and you're going to stay with me, and we're going to work through these swing issues that you're having, and don't bring a car." So Sheffield comes to his house and gets tired of sitting around Barry Bonds' house without any wheels, calls and gets a rental car sent out to him, and Barry Bonds took this fucking lid and said, "Don't come back." leave, gone. He wanted Gary Sheffield kind of like a prisoner in his house. He didn't want him to have any transportation, didn't want him going anywhere.
Didn't Sheffield do a little Balco too?
He was weird, yeah.
I mean, I think his name was on
You
the
think that's how
thing,
Barry Bonds is going to coach the Marlins hitters now? Did you see he got hired?
too. I'm bummed.
Everybody
The Giants
comes.
don't have
Everybody
any
comes
coach.
to
The
his
guy
house.
had a swing. He had a patent
Yeah.
left-hand swing that was just so compact. I mean, again, it's just turn, boom. It's.
I heard Dusty Baker talking about like when listening to Barry talk about the things he was picking up on pitchers.
Yeah.
He's like, these are things that only a couple guys in the history of baseball are able to see happening, like the hand in the mitt. He can or just the subtle things like the face. Like Barry knew what pitch was coming before he even had to see the spin of the ball.
People forget that, like, Ted Williams hated reporters, too. Ted Williams was hated by reporters just like Barry Bonds was hated by reporters.
It's a good thing Twitter wasn't around when Ted Williams was playing.
Yeah, he hated the fans, he hated
The
the
Wright
reporters.
brothers hated media,
Yeah, you've been
Some
reading
people,
that.
they're so focused in on what they're doing, they don't want to fucking sit there and answer dumbass questions from the media about stuff that, what's this got to do? I'm doing my job. This is what I'm getting paid to do. And when I'm done, I'm going to go home and have sex with my beautiful wife that I spent all this money, turning into the most beautiful wife in the world. All these baseball players is funny. You see their old lady, you're like, oh, man. And they're hanging out the minor league parks going, he's the next superstar.
Yep.
That's why I like Barry Sanders. Have you seen his wife? Yeah, she's thick, dude.
Yeah,
Barry likes him thick.
She's good.
There's and I've never watched
Bernie,
in the last
fucking
6
Sanders,
months.
not Barry Sanders.
Oh, Bernie
Bernie
Sanders.
Sanders.
You're talking about politics.
Bernie Sanders.
Boy, that
I thought you were talking about Barry.
Yeah, I was like,
Bernie Sanders' wife is a thick girl, and I
Oh.
mean a thick girl.
Well,
She likes him with a big ass.
There's a
So-
politician who is ridiculous. His name's Donald Trump, if you want to call him a politician. I only saw one line because I was like in a store somewhere and the TV was on. His press conference or a rally or something, he said, in regards to reporters, he said this. He said, and it's funny coming from Trump, but he says, reporters are the worst people in the world.
And he's still getting it.
Well-
and everybody has him on the show because
But I was
he
like,
had
that's
ratings.
the only
And
thing
he's
I've
getting
heard
on
him
the
say
street
that I thought
press,
was-
and he doesn't have to pay for it.
That's even stole from Albert Brooks. Remember Albert Brooks' joke when he was doing the Alamo thing? He's talking about the DJ, and this is because DJs are the worst people in the world. This is a scientific fact. Remember? Albert Brooks does that bit. He fucking stole that from Albert Brooks.
Ricky Richie Havens?
Yeah.
I wonder if he said that
Richie-
afterwards. I wonder if Trump said it's a scientific fact afterwards. He may have just totally ripped it off.
Because that was Albert Brooks' line about the DJs are the worst people in the world.
Man,
It's a scientific
I get lost in Albert Brooks like YouTube holes regularly.
He cracks me.
Like I can just watch one clip after another.
He's just so...
I love Donald Trump. I think he's great television. The funniest
Well,
thing
if he
ever-
gets elected, that'd probably be the best thing for comedians. I would say. I mean, that would be. That would be.
yeah, but the worst thing for the world. Hey, we had a
Well,
great run.
God damn it! Maybe it's time for to think about the comedians and not the world anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
it's
it.
been
I
a.
agree. Fuck the world.
I mean, the comedians have had a hard time with it lately.
Okay,
Did you guys ever
we
see?
showed over Cone.
Did you ever see Gilbert Gottfried translate Marley Matlin at the Donald Trump roast? Oh my God, it's amazing.
Who is this?
Gilbert Gottfried
Oh yeah.
translating Marley Matlin's
Oh, yeah,
roast
yeah,
of Donald
Donald
Trump.
Some Marley went up and tried to talk, and he was the
I just want to bring this
Yeah,
up because I don't know if you saw Tom's.
The home or what?
I guess I don't know.
Must have some political
Another
reasons.
line I had is at what point do you get so famous where you lose your fucking sense of humor? You know? Because I mean, God damn it! I mean, if you're going to run for president,
Oh shit!
if anything, you should go all Trump on this. And this is how the
Yeah, no
mainstream
sound
media is
in there.
going to be treating me. You know? He could have went that way with him. You know?
I can't believe Madigan got involved.
Yeah.
Why is she getting involved in a Facebook thread?
It was a Twitter feed, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Open for Ron.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, that was kind of nuts. But again, I knew you knew Tom, and
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
yeah, it's you might want to bring it up to him and see because I was kind of in Tom's corner because again it was, you know, if you participate in the Comedy Central roast, you've heard a lot worse than what Tom Simmons said about Ron White. You know, now granted he doesn't. I mean, half those people don't know each other on this Comedy Central roast.
Well, hopefully it got him some views.
Yeah, I shared it. I thought it was funny. I mean,
cast because I'm a weirdo, but it's called Me and Paranormal You, where I interview people with paranormal experiences or abilities. So I've talked to I've been past life hypnotized and recorded it. I've talked to a medium who channels the dead. I talked to a lot of empaths and intuitives. I've smoked DMT on and recorded it. We record me and Shane Moss. He walked me through my first time smoking DMT.
No, I've never done DMT. What is that experience like?
It's like the most intense 10 minutes of your life. But then it's like
locker room in the 70s.
it's like you just travel through space and time. I mean, I don't really know how to. It's really beyond kind of explanation, but it's the most powerful hallucinogenic drug out there, I guess.
Did you channel anybody?
Oh no, like because what happens is like you smoke, and then the last thing I say is, "Oh God," right? And then I just you go unfunctioning.
Yeah.
Is the only way I can think. Like Shane has smoked it enough times now where he can kind of talk while he's in there, as they say. But most people just kind of close. Like you lose your sight. Like everything just fractaled up.
Oh, that's like an ether binge.
Yeah, and it was.
I have legs.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then you don't really. And then when you come out of it, it's kind of like a dream that you didn't talk about soon enough when you woke up. It's all kind of hazy.
But you can't even talk about it after you come out.
Well, yeah, we talked about it for like an hour, but it was like, I listened back to it, and it was just a lot of like, and then, man, I was like, so, man, like, you know what I mean? Like, I was in there, and, it was like, and then it was like purple, man, it was purple, and then it was like triangles and purple. So it was a lot of that, but I did learn, like, it is interesting because it's like it's definitely not a party drug, but it's not like, hey, everybody, let's come over and smoke some DMT. It's like, hey,
What happened to us?
And then go to the club, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a spiritual journey
For
kind of
you,
thing.
it was a positive experience?
Oh yeah, I learned I was kind of a control. Well, not kind of. I was definitely a control freak when it came to like everything outside of my personal life, but like just my time and everything. I'm just such a control freak. So to like let go, because I freaked out when it first happened. Well, when you see your friend's face and like a seashell, like, and then I thought like, oh my God, he's a reptilian. I've been tricked. I'm going to be in this mental prison forever.
Have you done acid or anything like that?
I've done mushrooms, but I never did acid. I always like the natural stuff.
Okay. Because I think I might be ready for that. Patterns.
Yeah.
I'm there.
So and then my sight anyway it just goes black.
Yeah.
Like you just.
But you didn't get paranoid, though.
Yeah, we were sitting down. Yeah, we were sitting down on a
thought
couch.
about the reptilian, but did you get paranoid, or did
Well, yeah, and I took the headphones and the mindfold, which is like a blindfold that you can open your eyes and you still won't see anything. It's got
You
the.
can buy a mindfold.
You can buy a mindfold, and so he had that, and I took the mindfold and the headphones, and I kind of like just threw them off, because he's got this band called Spangle who makes music only for when you're smoking DMT apparently,
DMT music.
and so I took those off, and then it took about a minute and a half for him to get them back on me, but in my mind, I was in a comedy condo in St. Paul. It was like 1:30 in the morning, and when we did it.
Is that what you thought? Or that's
No, for real.
Oh,
That's where we really were. And in my mind, I'd gotten up and destroyed the condo. In my mind, I'd broken everything. Like I thought I'd just flipped out. And then in reality, I was just sitting on a couch like this and just,
drooling on yourself?
I just,
Reality, my
that's
hair
it. And then I just grabbed my T-shirt and I was just staring at it like this. But there was a universe inside of it. And then he got the thing back on me, and then I thought I pissed my pants because my crotch was so warm by the end of it. It was great. Yeah, but I did not pee. I'm happy to report I did not pee.
I know, but I'm just saying.
The drug was
Yeah,
just
pee
not
first.
good.
Definitely pee first, just in case.
Sounds like a great episode.
Yeah, it's a three-parter. It's a three-parter because then he smokes, and I record and I watch him smoke. Well, no, I don't say anything. I just listen to him because he actually is speaking while he's in there, and it was crazy.
So
But,
the guy talked while you were
No, he didn't say anything while I was in there.
really.
So,
there's a lot
this
of
is something
dinner.
you-
Well, we cut that part out. We cut the 10 minutes of me just
drooling.
drooling. We cut that out. But I also learned that I need to detach from outcome. So it's been about a year. It was actually right before I came here last year.
Wow.
And
should do it on
so
the-
now I'm not like attached to the outcome of anything I do anymore. At least I try not to be. Like as long as I try my hardest and put full effort into anything I do,
Yeah,
then
right.
what happens as a result is I'm not going to get hung up on that.
Yeah.
Sounds like an awesome experience.
Yeah, I think it helped my
What
comedy.
convenience store does this DMT come to?
The Come and Go. Come and Go.
And go and go and go and go.
Did you listen to Art Bell when you grew up? Were you like?
Oh, I loved Art
Coast to
Bell.
Coast
I
fan?
loved it. Yeah. He's
Well,
he's
he was
back
forced into
with
it
Dark
recently.
Matter
He
Radio.
just retired again, right?
Yeah, but he had to quit
this week.
just within the last week.
Oh, he did again?
Yeah, because somebody was
Because
stalking him or something.
Somebody's been stalking him.
Isn't there
He's
always
been
like a
shot.
reason why he kind of quits though? Like these,
Yeah, there's some kind of. You always wonder.
There was
how
a
much
thread
of Art
people
Bell
were
seems
doubting
like-
if it was a real thing,
Yeah.
But
he
there
quit
was
again.
no
I,
police
didn't-
report.
I haven't really gotten a chance to like get into it.
He claims that he was shot at like 3 times now, and
Archie
it's
Bell.
just not worth it.
The
That he's
drills.
quitting so this guy will leave his family alone. That's what he says. But
That
every
sucks.
time Art quits, there's some crazy thing that's going on, and it's sort of who's that guy that does the InfoWars thing? It's sort
Oh,
of
Alex Jones.
Yeah, sort of like his kind of drama, you know.
Oh, let me tell you what, juice boxes are making kids gay. Oh yeah, I guess they had juice boxes in Greece. Did they have juice boxes in Greece? But yeah, I listen to George Norrie. George Norrie's gotten a little bit like kind of conservative,
Yeah.
like in a weird way. So I don't listen to it as much as I
I
used
like
to.
George Knapp.
Oh, he's so good. He declined an interview request I had. I reached out to him. I was like, I will drive to Vegas to come over and interview you. And he said, I'm sorry, I'm not doing those anymore. I'm trying to move away from all of that stuff. So, but he still, I don't even know if he still does Coast to Coast guest host. I know Jimmy Church does,
Right.
who I'm in contact with, hopefully going to talk to Jimmy soon. But yeah, it's George Knapp is the best,
Yeah.
especially when he talks about David Paulides.
Yeah.
George Norrie has had on a guy that we talk about a lot on this show, and it's the missing 411.
No, David Paulides.
Or Paulides,
And
yeah.
we just talked about that before the show. They successfully finished the crowdfunding to do the documentary.
That's great.
The film's going to get.
Should be about,
that.
I think in about 10 months or so. It's in September or so. But one of our mutual friends, Drift Roberts, actually has a picture with him. In fact, I should probably pull it up here, but on his Facebook page,
That's cool.
he posted a picture of him standing right next to fucking David Paulides.
See, I unfollowed everyone on Facebook, so
wanna
like
meet this
I don't
guy.
see anything on Facebook anymore, which has made my life so much better.
Yeah.
There's no drama. There's
News off.
oh, it's the best.
Turn the news off.
I want to meet this guy and ask him if people are disappearing from my audiences during my set.
Well,
why I'm not-
he might be able to get to that. He might be able to get to that answer. he might be. You might not have to write a whole book about that. Maybe a pamphlet. Good night.
Gonzo's out.
See you guys.
Thanks for being
See you,
here,
Marc.
Dr. Gonzo.
Can I share one thing
Gonzo,
with
you
you?
got some stuff coming up.
Really?
Yeah, Saturday at Chambly Golf Course on Lake Petersburg. I'll be up against Ryan Singer at Mason City Limits.
And you're going to be here for New Year's, right?
Yeah, doing New Year's in the second.
We'll do each other's acts Saturday.
Okay, that's hey.
You want to switch?
Fine, we get some Christmas stuff. Build it as a Christmas show. You
Oh,
got a
did
red
you?
sweater?
Oh, I do got this great new Christmas joke I'm working on.
Okay.
You want to hear it real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's not worked out, but it's when I was a little kid, I found gifts hidden in my mom's trunk before Christmas, and then on Christmas, I opened gifts from Santa. The same gifts from Santa were the ones I found, because sometimes they were from Mom, sometimes they were from Dad, sometimes they were from Santa. And I opened up the Santa one, and it was the one that was in her car already. And then I was like, oh, there's only 3 explanations.
Mama's kissing Santa.
Mama's fucking Santa, or Mom is fucking Santa.
Ooh, that would be
I guess 2 explanations. So she's either fucking Santa or she is fucking Santa.
Till spring and we could go back outside.
But yeah, so you can use that. You think that would, I don't know, maybe that'd go.
I've been trying to think of different Christmases that I had that were how bizarre they were. And, I just remember my drunk Uncle Bill. I loved it when he came over, because it got interesting.
Yeah, shit, it always happened.
Pissed my mom off every
Yeah.
time. Virginia come in, my cousins would come in, and then there'd be Bill. Just fucked up, man. And I'd be going, yeah, because that took all the pressure off the rest of us. It ain't our fault. Nobody's going to be yelling at us. Everybody's
Yep.
going to be yelling at Bill.
Keep your girlfriend's asses away from Uncle Bill.
Oh, he was just fucking, I loved how drunk he was all the time. But I felt sorry for my cousins because you could tell the look in their eyes like, oh, Dad's drunk and it's Christmas. You know?
Just like last Christmas, yeah.
It's like Christmas before that.
Santa didn't get my list. All I want for Christmas is a sober dad. I must have been bad.
Weird. But for some reason, I love when Bill would come in because he'd have that shitty grin on his face. You're going, oh boy, he's going to come up, he's going to tussle my hair, going to chin chuck me, and then smack me around.
Chin chuck you?
That kind of stuff, you know, just knocking you around. But you know that he was beating on his kids, so, and loved his kids. But they're pretty happy when he was gone. They didn't have to deal with that anymore.
It's like I had this idea in my head of listening to this, like him,
I
like
guess there's nothing funny
Christmas
about
morning at their house.
I was gonna say
Christmas
that.
morning at their house, there's a stocking. It's like, Dad, I got coal in my stock. He's like, oh, that's not coal, that's resin. Give me that fucking stocking. That's not coal, that's resin. Give that to him. I've been looking at that.
Hey, this box smells like a skunk. Hey, that's mine. Give me that back. What are you doing in my box?
Chris, you got something you want to
Yeah,
address
because you
before
mentioned
Ron
Facebook,
gets
and
out?
you ever like acquire a friendship, and so maybe somebody you haven't seen in 20 years, and you become friends on Facebook, and then you realize, boy, I don't like this person.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened. I used to date this guy's sister, right? So I guess there's a difference between following and friending somebody, and I think I friended him. So now he's fucking trolling every comment I make or every conversation I make, and he's getting in political fights with people he doesn't even know. And I brought the asshole to the party, right?
Yeah.
So
You got a friend of
he did this with Piper. You know, Piper's a liberal friend, and I have a conservative friend. He pissed him off later. So he's bringing the country together. They all think he's an asshole, right? So anyways, my buddy Sam posts something, and I usually just make a joke when I make a post. Well, anyways, I leave the fucking thread, and I guess something blows up with this guy William, the guy who used to date his sister, and my buddy Sam, and the next thing I know, William is sending me a note going, your buddy Sam's a moron. And then it's like a 14-paragraph thing, and I stopped reading after the first paragraph. I don't think this guy has the currency to fucking do this to me. I haven't talked to this guy, or I haven't hung out with this guy in 20 years, right? So I had to write this back to him. I go, William, perhaps I should explain. I follow Sam because he was one of the early headliners I worked with in gigs in Iowa, South Dakota, and Nebraska. We spent many hours in the car together, talking about a lot of things, sharing life experiences, doing great gigs and hell gigs together. There's a bond that forms with any comedian sharing such experiences. One time we did a 2-week run, and he was kind enough to open his house to me on the off nights. I met his family. He helped me get into other rooms over the years, and I haven't seen him or worked with him in 15 years. I have great memories of the time we spent together, and I value his friendship. I know him to be a kind, caring, generous person with great patience as a son is disabled, and I witnessed firsthand how a large man had such a gentle touch, even in the most stressful situations. I follow you because I used to fuck your sister.
Unfriend.
Nailed it.
Yeah. That's funny. That's funny.
Well, the funny thing is I told Darren about this, right? And then so later on we had something going on, and he accused me of having a crush on somebody. He was like, oh, yeah, I know. You just used to follow her brother on Facebook. I was like, that's the greatest callback ever. So I've got to do this. But, it's something I have to set up why I like my buddy Sam so much, and then before I drop the hammer,
Before you run out of here, Gonzo, I want to mention we got a resolution on the Cammie Kelly trial for our friend Becky Spangler, who lost her son. The daycare provider was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, faces a 2 to 5 year prison sentence. So they did find her guilty of something.
But sentencing is not until February 5th.
Sentencing is February 5th.
So she could end up anywhere. She's probably out all.
I mean, she probably won't serve the full sentence.
There's a possibility she could even get parole, which kind of worries me because, the lady was managed to stay away from trial for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then finally, if they end up giving her probation after this, I'll just be shocked. Just shocked. But what they convicted her of comes with a 2 to 5 year sentence. So we'll see.
Fine in there.
And, I don't know, but I think that might be the next thing. I think most murder cases where there's anybody with any kind of assets.
Oh,
at
she's
all.
got a pension or
You end up
something, yeah.
having a civil
Sure.
lawsuit
Yeah.
to go along with that.
In fact, Illinois was going after prisoners if they have, any kind of windfall. They wanted them to pay their cost of incarnation back.
Fuck Illinois. Jesus Christ, they were
That's how
giving
broke we are.
IOUs to lottery.
We got to
winners.
charge our prisoners.
Did you know that if you win the lottery in Illinois
Over $600, they can't afford to pay it.
No, they give you an IOU.
What?
Yep.
Did you play?
Not now, I'm not. I gotta go back to the gas station.
I just found out today that our Secretary of State's office quit mailing out notifications on
I saw
everything
that.
recently.
Yeah.
And that's to save money. And ultimately, the Secretary of State's office, because of the Illinois budget impasse, has said that they only have enough money for postage for another couple of months to mail out
I
anything.
just renewed both our plates.
Yeah. So you'll probably get yours, but if you're renewing after
Oh, no, I
February or
didn't. No, we
March,
never got anything in the mail. That's why we call. I go, man, mine's expiring like tomorrow. So we-
right? But Jesse White's point was that they're running out of money to mail out anything. Period. So if you renew February, March, April, you might not get your plates sent to you at all. You might have to go
I
pick
got
them
a
up.
plate. I just got the sticker. The
Right.
sticker, so.
Well, you might actually have to drive somewhere and pick it up because our state is at the point where they can't even put something in the mail to you now.
You know, who needs a license plate? Just put a gone fishing on it.
Yeah.
And I want to mention, I got some shit coming up. I don't know if I talked about it, but I got associated with a really funny guy named Jared Dog Danley, and he runs something called the Grassroots Comedy Tour. If you want to figure out where I'm going to be doing anything, if you're that big of a fan or that big of a psycho, you go to jareddogondemand.com, click on show dates, and like this weekend, I'll be in Arbor Vitae, Vitae.
Is that in Italy? Where's that at?
Wisconsin.
Oh,
At the
okay.
Heart Tube Bar and Grill.
Okay.
And New Year's in Wacoma, Iowa, January 2nd, in Dunlap, Iowa, for the Dirty Jokes and Magic Tricks show. So, jareddogondemand.com to check out where I'm going to be. And Chris has got, after Ryan, you got...
After Ryan, we have a showcase night on the 26th, just $5 for that show. Then we have Dr. Gonzo, New Year's Eve, and the 2nd of January. Tim Slagle, the 9th and 10th. Uncle Larry Reed, the 16th and 17th. Steve Iett, the 22nd, 23rd. And then Kid Dave Miller at the end of the month.
Thanks to you for listening, and thanks to our special guests, Ryan Singer and Dr. Gonzo, for being here tonight. And we'll see you probably in a week, most likely.
Okay, so that really right?
You're okay with that?
Sure.
In a week? All right, Chris is okay with it. See you in a week. Thanks for being here tonight. Merry Christmas.
Ho, ho.